Okay. Thank you. The Mikulskis today have the distinction of bringing you the first red of the afternoon.
Yay!
Okay, so we have a couple questions to ask you, but as you know, usually when we do a presentation, it stems from a trip that we made in the last year. But we haven't made a trip for the 2 years. So
Because of COVID.
exactly. So as you all know, we're trying to do something here from a little traditional from our family, Joann's family.
So we're going back 2 generations.
Yes, exactly.
To my grandmother Borsellino's Italian meatball recipe.
From Sicily. So Joann has 2 questions to ask you about meatballs.
And they're Sicilian, so you better like it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is no doubt. So, who knows where the meatball was originated? Do you think it was Italian?
No, I don't.
Probably not.
think so.
No. No.
I
It's
think it
from
was-
Persia.
Yeah.
Persia started the meatball,
Kebab.
and then it went to the Arabs after that. But the spaghetti and meatball is a totally American dish, not Italian. So you go to Italian restaurants, it's hard to find spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah.
See, I told you, and that's why your ancestry came up with you having a little Arab in your blood.
I do not.
It's
I'm
due
100%
to the meatballs.
Italian.
You're part African!
That's rare. Wow.
So,
All part African, FYI.
so the research I did said it is the ultimate comfort food.
Spaghetti and
Meatball.
meatballs.
Okay.
All right.
So anyway, this recipe is from my grandmom Borsellino's, and she was from Sicily in Delia, and my sister and I went there 5 years ago, and found our family, and stayed with them, and they had a birthday party
Oh, wow,
for me.
that's cool.
It was neat.
I mean, we had no idea who anybody was. We just go into the town of Delia and start asking questions, and they go, "Your cousin has the laundromat. I'll take you there." So she takes us to the laundromat,
Wow.
and we meet my cousin, and she puts us up with her parents, and they can't speak English, and they just embraced us and invited the entire extended family over. And I happened to have I think it was my 40th birthday
Yeah.
when we were there, and they had a party for me with 50 relatives, and everybody brought gifts.
Oh my God.
It was so strange, so special. So anyway, this is my grandmom Borsellino's recipe from Italy.
And back in '92, the St. Marco Society over in Muhlenberg,
Yeah.
they asked all their members or patrons if they would donate or submit a recipe. So Joann submitted this recipe into the cookbook that was made from all those recipes. So if anybody wants this recipe, we'll turn you to the page. You can snap a picture.
Hold that
of
up.
it.
Let's take a picture of
What's
that.
the one with the Market John?
You can just point it to the camera and it'll be there for posterity.
So, Joann, just tell them how it's made. You don't
Oh,
use
right.
measuring cups here.
So my grandmother's recipe is no beef. It's all veal and pork, ground veal and ground pork, and it's a handful of breadcrumbs and a handful of locatelli cheese. I mean, no, not a cup, not a half a cup, a handful. And that's till this day. I never figured out how much a handful was because I don't want to know. I want to continue with her recipe.
And that comes up. Is there eggs in it?
Yes, 3 eggs per pound.
Oh, that's a lot.
A lot.
that is-
So it's a very moist meatball.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And-
what I'm talking about.
And like we were making it yesterday, I was making the sauce from scratch from tomatoes in the garden. I was doing that, and Joann was making the meatballs. And she made me go out to my garden and get parsley. And I said, "Well, how much do you need?" She says,
Lots.
"Lots,"
handful.
because that's what's written down. Lots.
handful.
And a handful. Yeah.
And he
So
goes, "How much is lots?" I'm there. Lots. Just
yeah. So I come in with like 2 handfuls of
that's good.
That's good. She says. I said, "All right."
Yeah. So it's lots of parsley, lots of basil,
Yeah.
a handful of this, a handful of that.
Yeah. So it's a traditional old recipe. It's kind of cool.
So what are we pairing it with?
Oh, John,
So-
yes, the wine.
The
Joann,
pairing-
the recipe is that what it says? A handful?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It does.
You read this, it'll actually
Yeah.
say that. Yeah.
I love it.
So in fact, it's marked. I'll pass it along. You can
Handful
take a
of
look at
rice
it.
for each person.
You can take a look at the marked page there. So the pairing of this, we thought about doing a Sicilian wine, because it's from Sicily, but because this is pork and veal, it's a mild, subtle flavor. You know what I mean? And what we're looking for is a medium body wine. That's what I was kind of looking for, and I actually ran into this Côte de Rhône wine 2-3 weeks ago, I was down in Parkton, Maryland, on a business trip, and I rolled into this Rendezvous Cafe, and I bought myself a crab cake, and right next to it, literally attached to this ABC store, and this fabulous guy
And you
comes.
just had to go
Just
in.
had to go in, yeah. So the guy comes right up to the door and greets me. He says, "What are you looking for?" I said, I need something to go with meatballs." So he walks me over to the rack and he pulls out two. And one was this wine, and he says, "This is really good." He says, the wine spectator rates it at 90 points, which is, and it's a steal. Literally, they say it's a steal for $20. It was
Yeah,
$19.95. Right, so this is a good priced wine, but it's also a good flavored wine also. And the second one he pointed me to was so darn good, I drank both bottles of Grenache. It was a Spanish wine. She went away for 6 days, and the 2 bottles of Grenache went, that was gone.
So we're not being treated to that.
When's
You're
Joann
not
going-
getting the Grenache.
I
Maybe
didn't
at
get it.
another
Oh my
day.
God.
John, when's Joann going away again?
I don't know. But this is good. I assure you, you'll enjoy this, okay? So I'll give you a little history on the wine while Joann works here. This comes from a family vineyard. It's St. Cosmo in the Côte d'Or
There you go, man.
region.
Cosmo, that's
Cosmo.
my grandfather.
And it's a family vineyard that goes back to 1490.
To serve this.
It was built on a Gallo-Roman historical site close to a little town called Gigantoas.
Did you get your bread? You want?
Yes,
Oh,
I have
okay.
it.
Okay.
And
I
there's a
saw that.
chapel. There's a chapel overlooking the vineyards, and that's where the name comes from. This Saint Cosmo is actually the chapel, sitting up on the hill, and it looks down on the vineyards in this heart of a geological mosaic of old country, old ground along the Rhone River in the south of France. Like as I said, the Wine Spectator rates this as 90 points, and they describe it as being a crushed cherry and plum Paris flavored meld with red licorice juniper takes over at the end of the
Ashley
taste.
comes over to
So
say
it's going to be quite an arrangement there.
Did you eat the meatball?
So the country is
No,
France,
why?
the region is the Rhone, it's a medium bodied in the
28
southern
meatballs
part
from there.
of the
I only
Rhone.
made 35.
This is made from
Okay.
100% of Shiraz. So if you're looking for
Syrah.
the Syrah. And we learned something that I didn't know. This doesn't have the name Chateau in front of it. And I learned from this little episode here that if it says Chateau, that means the grape comes directly from that vineyard. This does not come from the vineyard. It's like a village thing where they take different vineyards in the surrounding area and they blend it together to make this wine. So it's different. We'll give this a try, and because it's medium bodied and this is pork and veal, I think it'll pair together pretty good.
Okay.
All right.
Le vin rouge.
Okay, well,
Is there somebody want to help me pour it here?
Thank you.